I'm not sure that all the investors out there really understand that, although bank-owned properties is a term that we use to sort of blanket the whole thing, an FHA bank-owned property is different than a Fannie Mae bank-owned property in a lot of different ways, in terms of what you're likely to find, but more importantly in terms of things like the bidding process. So I'd like to, since I've got some experts in here on these things, I'd like to again start with you, Steve, and talk about a little bit about how, like, the HUD bidding process is different than what you might consider to be a more typical REO bidding process.
They're fairly similar in that both of them require some earnest money. HUD's pretty specific in the amounts that they require versus, you know, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, might be somewhat negotiable. A bank-owned might be somewhat negotiable. They are pretty inflexible. The amount of time that they give you to close, they give you 45 days. Most of the banks want to close in 30 days these days. Other than that, other than the paperwork, it's a separate set of paperwork. It's not a board contract. It's HUD's special contract, and they tell you in about 50 places that it's as is, that you know, they make you sign mold waivers and lead paint waivers and all the stuff in addition to what you might get with the normal bank-owned property, although they'll have some addendums also.
What about inspections? That's always the big issue with an investor who's going to go out and make offers on 10 REO properties this week, hoping that one of them will turn out to be accepted. Often the first round, they're just doing a look-through. They're just saying, basically, what does this house need approximately? What do I think it's going to need in repairs? And their expectation is that once that offer is accepted, they will have 5 days, 10 days, something like that, to go in and really get an inspection. HUD, it seems to me, goes back and forth on whether they think that's a good thing. It seems like some years, yeah, we can have an inspection, and some years, no.
You can have an inspection. They make it a little difficult for you. They give you basically 15 days to do that. The water's off, the power's off all the time. So you have to actually send them $100. They hold that in trust for you. You go in, call the water company, the power company, turn on the utilities in your name, you pay for it, and then do your inspection. And when you're done, you have to re-winterize the property, and they come back and they check to see that you've done it, and if you've done it correctly, they give you your $100 back.
And you began this sentence by saying they make it a little difficult on you.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
Very good.